So I got to thinking, because we are visiting Planarcadia, the next version, and it is a world tied to the Elation, I did wonder, will Elation become a playable path? Because when we visited Amphoreus, Remembrance became playable as a result of our interactions with that path. Now, Elation has its turn. If Elation were to be playable, and if characters that were showcased during the 4.0 information are potentially on that path, we had Sparkle, Blade, and Silverwolf that we could definitely identify as characters currently in the game. There were 3 other silhouettes, one of which I'm still confident is a Sakura Yai XP or variant. The other 2, I have no idea who they are. If any of them are Elation, what do I think they could do? I personally think Sparkle would be the best option as the first Elation character. And Elation, to me, I had an idea based on one of the recent events, which was during 3.6 we got the Try Not to Laugh challenge, which involved building up a giggle meter gauge, and some of the challenges were directly tied to skill points, something that the base version of Sparkle is very connected to. My concept is, this path either is a jack of all trades, master of none, like Remembrance is meant to be, but Imbalance has ended up a master of all, or it is going to be supportive or debuff related, tied to building up a gauge through using skill points. I think that would neatly tie in the idea of the Try Not to Laugh challenges mechanics and why they were experimenting with it. If it has functional purpose, it makes sense why they created an event for it, because that's how you get the players to interact, how you get free testing of your ideas without having to go through betas. So I'm going to assume, if this is the case, how would this work for characters? Would it be set effects? I don't think so. I think that potentially each character that could have been on this path will have a unique effect from building up through the use of skill points. And eventually, when you use enough of them, you get this effect to apply to other characters. Or if it's a path that is able to do every role, then it could build up towards a big attack or a really good benefit for the team as a healer. Either way, it's a cumulative build-up of this based on the amount of skill points used. Either repeated use will gradually fill up that gauge, which could have a multiplier on the effect, or could add additional effects to what the character does. This would be a little tricky to balance around, because it means that skill point harvesting is going to be a huge deal. It would mean that Sparkle base variant is going to be incredibly powerful until she is specifically prepped in what she can do. It creates questions on if these characters can work with Archer, Imbiber Lune, or Xingsha, who are all characters who use multiple skill points for their skills that either contribute towards their basic attack or specific effects. Because if you're having to invest skill points into quote-unquote Elation characters, then you don't have the access to invest into other characters. It makes a kind of difficult situation where those characters just wouldn't work with them at all. It would maybe make it so characters who don't use skill points at all would be incredibly valuable, because it means that you don't have to invest skill points into those characters to do what they need to, while you can just focus in on dedicating all your skill points towards the quote-unquote Elation character. I also think this offers a unique opportunity if it does end up being the case that Elation is a thing and it ties to skill points. It creates a neat way of restricting other paths' capabilities in meta. It makes me concerned for Remembrance, because I do think Remembrance needs to be controlled a bit now that it's potentially not going to be top dog anymore. It might be a bit until we get a Remembrance character again, and some of them are highly dominant, and the ones who are typically ridiculously broken either don't use skill points or don't use energy. Because we have Evernight who doesn't need skill points, we have Castorus who doesn't really care, and then Serene doesn't use energy. If the Elation characters use either or both of those mechanics, you can safely restrict some of the Remembrance comps completely through tackling their DPSs. I don't think we need to restrict their supportive capabilities on other characters though. We need to enable a new path that is added to the game to be supported by characters of the past to market it, because if it has no team comp at all, you're going to have some difficulty running it. But yeah, this is just food for thought. There is no guarantee this is going to happen. I just thought it'd be a cool concept if the Elation world introduces the Elation playable path. It also creates a lot of interesting lore implications as well, since, you know, Elation is one of the Aeons we've kind of known about since the start, but we have very, very little information to go on. It's very cool that we are getting more on them, and more about the cultures that they have fostered by just existing. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any ideas for this path in the future. And until next time, have a good night, morning, day, whatever time it is, wherever you guys are in the world, and take care of yourselves. Bye.